Rain tapped softly against the apartment windows while the city lights shimmered across the wet streets below. Ethan Cole, a 32-year-old single dad from Chicago, quietly closed his laptop after finishing a late project. In the next room, his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, slept peacefully with her favorite storybook still open beside her. Life had never been easy for Ethan. After losing his wife years ago, he had learned to manage everything alone: office deadlines, school lunches, bedtime stories, and the silence that filled the apartment after Lily fell asleep. But for Ethan, his daughter was his entire world, the reason he kept going no matter how exhausting life became. The next morning, an urgent email called everyone into an early meeting at Harper & Row Marketing, one of the city's fastest-growing firms. Whispers traveled quickly across the office. A new regional director had just been appointed. Her name was Olivia Carter. She walked into the conference room with effortless authority, tailored navy suit, neatly tied chestnut hair, and eyes that seemed to miss nothing. Employees described her as brilliant but guarded, someone who built her career through discipline and rarely let anyone get close. During the meeting, she paused when she reached Ethan's name on the performance report. "You're the one who secured the Brookfield contract last year?" she asked. Ethan nodded humbly. "Yes, but honestly, the team made it happen." A faint smile touched her lips. Good leaders always say that. Weeks passed, and their work increasingly overlapped. Olivia demanded excellence, yet she respected Ethan's reliability. Meanwhile, she couldn't help noticing how he never stayed late unnecessarily, always leaving on time to pick up Lily. One afternoon she asked, almost casually, "You always leave exactly at 5. Family tradition?" "My daughter," Ethan replied, pulling out his phone to show a picture of Lily missing her front tooth and grinning proudly. "She thinks dinner tastes better when I cook it." Olivia studied the photo longer than expected. "She looks full of life." "She is," he said. "She reminds me what matters." Something in Olivia's expression softened. Months later, the company celebrated landing its biggest client yet with a formal dinner downtown. The evening was filled with music and laughter, but outside, a powerful storm rolled across the city. By the time the event ended, rain poured relentlessly. Olivia stepped outside, frustration flashing across her face as she ended a phone call. "My car won't start, and ride services are overwhelmed," she admitted. Ethan lifted his keys. "I can drive you home if you'd like." After a brief hesitation, she agreed. The storm intensified, forcing them to pull over near a quiet cafe glowing warmly against the dark street. Inside, the aroma of coffee and cinnamon created an instant sense of comfort. For the first time, they spoke about their personal lives rather than quarterly targets. Olivia confessed she had spent most of her adult life chasing professional success, believing emotional attachments would only slow her down. Ethan spoke about becoming a father overnight, learning resilience through Lily's laughter. "She made you stronger," Olivia observed. "She made me whole," Ethan replied. Thunder echoed outside, yet inside the cafe, time seemed suspended. Two people, both familiar with loneliness, discovered an unexpected ease in each other's presence. What happened later wasn't planned. It wasn't reckless either, just an honest moment where guarded hearts briefly opened. Afterward, they returned to their routines, silently agreeing to keep that night in the past. Until nearly 3 months later. "Ethan, could you step into my office?" Olivia asked one evening. Her voice carried none of its usual confidence. He immediately sensed something was different. She stood near the window, fingers intertwined, as if steadying herself. "I need to tell you something important," she said quietly. Ethan waited. Her next words came as a fragile whisper. "I'm pregnant." For a second, the world seemed to fall completely silent. 1,000 thoughts rushed through Ethan's mind: responsibility, Lily, the future he had carefully structured. Yet when he looked at Olivia, he didn't see the composed executive everyone admired. He saw a woman trying very hard not to appear afraid. "I'm not telling you this to pressure you," she added quickly. "I can handle this. But you deserve to know." Ethan inhaled deeply, grounding himself before speaking. "You won't be handling it alone," he said gently. "We'll figure this out together." The relief in her eyes was impossible to miss. The following weeks were filled with long conversations, practical plans, uncertainties, and cautious hope. Ethan worried most about how Lily would react. One evening, he sat beside her on the couch. "Hey, kiddo," he began softly. "How would you feel if we had a tiny new person joining our family someday?" Lily's eyes widened. "Like, a baby?" He nodded. She gasped with excitement. "I'd be the big sister. I could read them stories." Her innocent joy dissolved the knot in his chest. Gradually, Olivia changed too. The sharp edges people feared seemed to soften. She began stopping by bookstores during business trips, bringing Lily small gifts, puzzle books, coloring sets, once even a snow globe. Soon, Lily stopped calling her Ms. Carter. She became Olivia. One crisp autumn afternoon in the park, golden leaves swirling around them, Ethan finally spoke the thought that had been growing in his heart. "Some things in life aren't planned," he said. "But sometimes the unexpected becomes exactly what we need. Maybe, we could build something real. A family." Olivia searched his face. "Doesn't that scare you?" He smiled honestly. "It does. But not as much as the idea of walking away from something that could be beautiful." For the first time since he'd known her, her eyes shimmered with emotion she didn't hide. Months later, inside a softly lit hospital room, the cry of a newborn filled the air. Ethan stood beside Lily, who clutched his hand tightly. "It's a boy," the nurse announced. Lily beamed. "I'm officially a big sister." Olivia looked exhausted yet radiant as she placed the baby in Ethan's arms. In that moment, he realized something profound: life rarely follows the paths we carefully design. Sometimes it surprises us with detours that lead somewhere far better than we imagined. He glanced at Olivia, then at both children, his heart fuller than it had been in years. All it had taken was one quiet whisper. And the courage to let it change everything.